One of my great concerns about the Constitution is that so few people understand it. And another of my great concerns is the fact that our children don't understand the Constitution. Of all the people that we need to understand the Constitution, our children need to understand it so they can carry this document forward and so they can keep it alive and flourishing. So after I wrote my book, Promises of the Constitution, Yesterday, Today, and Tomorrow, where I explain the past, the present, and the future of the Constitution, I was working with my editor and she said, you know, Pam, it would be a really easy thing, having written this book in those short vignettes, it would be a really easy thing to turn this book into a course of study for families and for homeschools to study the Constitution. The book itself was written as a standalone book, but with the addition of 2 more books, we have turned Promises of the Constitution into a course of study, as I said, for families and for homeschoolers. So we took each of the short vignettes, the 1.5-page segments in Promises of the Constitution, and we asked 3 questions about that vignette to bring out the application of the principles in that vignette, to expand on it. And we assigned a biblical scripture to each one of those vignettes. Each of them is numbered, and so in the book, the numbers of the vignettes will be, for instance, 7.2 is one of the vignettes in the book that talks about the freedom principles. And so you turn to 7.2 in Promises of the Constitution, and when you're studying it in your family or in your homeschool, you will read vignette 7.2 on principles of freedom, and then you open the workbook to 7.2, and you will find 3 questions asked there and a scripture that goes along with what the student has just read in Promises of the Constitution. So Promises becomes the textbook, and this is the workbook with the student to answer the questions. And then we created a 3rd book, and that 3rd book has the answers to the questions that are in the workbook, plus additional materials for parents and teachers to use. This is the parent-teacher volume. And so after the student has read the material in Promises of the Constitution and answered the 3 questions in Lessons of the Constitution workbook, the parents then open Lessons of the Constitution parent-teacher volume. They find the answers to those materials. They find additional discussion materials. There are projects that can be done. There are books that can be read with the children, DVDs, additional resource materials in the parent-teacher volume. So these 3 books work together as a course of study for individuals who want greater depth, for families that want to study the Constitution together, and for homeschoolers to be used either as independent study or as guided study by a teacher. The benefits that will come to children from using these books are priceless. The Constitution itself is priceless, and that's the benefit that can come to children from using these books. They can come to love the Constitution the way I love the Constitution, the way you love the Constitution. This is the way we have of explaining to our children this amazing document that has given us the greatest freedom and prosperity of any nation in the modern history of the world.